Good evening. Welcome to the Tahoe Truckee Unified School District Board of Education meeting on November 19th, 2025. There is no public here to make public comments on the closed session, so we will adjourn this meeting and return back here at 5:30 after we've done closed session.
Live.
Good evening, and welcome to the Tahoe Truckee Unified School District Board meeting of 11/19/2025. The board did meet in closed session with no reportable action this evening. At this point, Sarah, please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Front row, red hair, I couldn't miss. Thank you. Superintendent Kramer, are there any changes to the presented agenda?
No changes, President Driller.
Would anyone care to make a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Public comment, 7.1. Is there any public that would like to make a comment at this very moment? Seeing none, I'll close public comment. Moving quickly to 8.0. Superintendent Kramer, what do we have this evening?
It is my absolute pleasure to introduce Principal Jenny DeWald and the King's Speech team for their presentation tonight. So welcome.
Yeah, hello? We're good. Okay, take two. Good evening to everyone. Thank you to our Board of Trustees, our Superintendent, our Executive Cabinet for having us this evening with the opportunity to spotlight Kings Beach Elementary. Someone thoughtfully shared a book with me on leadership by Brene Brown, Strong Ground, and there's a quote in the book that really resonated with me as a site principal in TTUSD. Leadership is plumbing and poetry. So tonight we have the opportunity to share with you some of our poetry. Before we begin, I want to recognize this mural. Where is there's Miss Heather. Heather's one of our fantastic fifth grade teachers. She collaborated with Joe Rock from Reno, a local artist, and the result is this piece. As you can see on it, it says plant the seed, plantar la semilla. And tonight we are going to share with you ways in which we are planting seeds with and for our students. Okay. So from our presentation this evening, you can expect to learn about how we use student data to guide our Tier 2 literacy instruction. This is something we've shared with you guys previously and we continue to build. And our Tier 1 instruction in writing, which is something new we're doing. We are aligned as a staff, K through 5, with our writing instruction this school year. I'm going to start first with our mission. My husband's here, with our mission and vision statements to guide our work and which differentiates us among our other elementary sites. We are a dual language immersion school. Our vision strengths include our emphasis on social emotional growth of our students, our relationships with our students, our families, ourselves, our community, sociocultural competence, biliteracy, and bilingualism. That's our focus. So when we look at that mission and we look at that vision, I put this together to try and make sense of all the moving parts for my brain and hopefully other brains. This is our plan. It demonstrates the connectedness in the interplay among our site's vision, as well as our students' data, as well as the integration of our district initiatives. The result of that is our school plan for student achievement, our SIPSA, which you all get to read. And we have 3 goals this school year. One is in math, one is in literacy with our writing embedded in that, and as well an SEL goal. Within those 3 goals, we strive to integrate academic discourse into all 3 goals. So moving from our what connects us to our how. So as I said, the what, it's very important that we all have clarity around that shared mission, vision, goals, and strategies. And then how? How do we put this into action? What's the verb of this work? So our emphasis is on building and strengthening our collaborative teams. They are focused on student data. They're focused on instruction. We have some phenomenal grade level teams happening. As well, it's that commitment to continuous improvement, right? What's not working? Okay, then we got to figure this out. We got to try some new things. You're going to see some of our change ideas tonight. So next, this brought us to the question in August. What did our 24-25 SBAC ELA data tell us about our students' literacy learning needs for this school year, for 25-26? And we did not get the results we wanted. Okay, we saw cohort growth, we saw certain student groups, significant growth, but the overall 5% we did not achieve. So this then led us to that place of, okay, we have this information. What else do we need to look at so we can make our plan of action for this school year? We looked at our LPAC data. We used our beginning of the year diagnostics, both DIBELS and Lectura, as well as iReady, a new tool to help us frame what do we need to do moving forward. So that led us to the big question. How do we continue to strengthen this Tier 2? We do not want to abandon it, and we must start moving towards our Tier 1. We've started with writing, which you can see around the room. So this is a nice little moment for a break. Kind of feel like TK starts us in almost like cave times where we can see different art. And then you can see that progression. Kindergarten, we just had a lovely share out at our staff meeting today of our teams finishing their first writing PDSA cycles. Kindergarten's doing incredible work on sentence formation, the mechanics of writing to free up the brain for that creativity, which we're seeing in our first grade. Into our second grade, expanding their writing. Our third grade, both languages, it's just blossoming. Into our fourth, which you'll hear about, as well as finishing off in our fifth. So you can take that journey of our students as writers at our school site. Okay. Quick review, that Tier 2, because it's been a year since we've been with you guys. That is that daily differentiated, targeted, skill-based instruction to meet our students' literacy needs. And I'll slow down my voice. This work is led by Julie Otis, our reading intervention teacher, and this involves our entire staff, as you guys saw last year. So now some exciting data. When we look at our beginning of the year data, right? So in September, our first minimum day, we use that to look at the data and make our plans for our literacy instruction. We were very pleased to see over a 2-year period in our Spanish, so K through 5 Spanish, we give the assessments in both languages. We've seen a 15% increase in our students who are starting the school year at or above benchmark. Okay. We've also witnessed a 15% decrease for our beginning of the year data of students well below benchmark. So that data shows us what we're doing is working. We need to obviously keep strengthening, monitoring data, but we're on the right path. So next, we go to DIBELS, okay? So same assessment tool, Spanish K through 5, English, we give this test 2nd through 5th. Again, gentle reminder, we don't start phonics instruction until 2nd grade. So when we look at this, we've seen a 12% increase in the beginning of the year of our students who are at or above benchmark, and we've seen a 19% decrease in 2 years with our beginning of the year data around who is well below. Yes, I feel the same way. Thank you for that. I want to highlight iReady, a new tool in our district. This has been a very well-received tool at our site because it's giving us specific data around vocabulary and comprehension, 2 pieces we didn't have enough information about. You can see here the results of our Tier 1 and Tier 2 intentional instruction in phonics has been effective. We have 63% starting proficient or higher with phonics, 87% with high frequency words. There's a significant drop with vocabulary and comprehension. both in informational and also in literature. When we go to 5th grade, we saw the same trend. Again, starting the year, 82% are where they need to be with phonics at that 5th grade level. 95% are exactly where they need to be with high frequency words. Huge success. Thank you to these people. Okay? When we look at our vocabulary and comprehension, we see that drop, an improvement in 5th to 4th. It's more than just being a new diagnostic tool. Julie Otis is going to speak about Scarborough's rope in just a few moments, but this is our opportunity. That data helps us. We need to look at our language comprehension in that instruction. What we're doing in word recognition is very effective.
So, as we learned with the science of reading, this infographic was, presented to the school communities over and over again. And this researcher really summed it up well. And so really, we work on word recognition and then also language comprehension. And you really can't have one without the other. And we can tell from our data that our word recognition, we're hitting the mark. We're doing it. And so now we have the opportunity where we can move into the other areas of reading. And like Jenny was saying about kindergarten focusing on letter formation so that it frees up the space in their brain so that then they can just write. It's similar with decoding. If kids are just fluent with the decoding, then they have more capacity for acquiring vocabulary and understanding. So we're really doing a great job with that.
Julie's going to highlight her PDSA with her team in just 1 second. But when we looked at that tier 2, how to strengthen it, PDSA's Plan, Do, Study, Acts is something that's not new to us. But we looked at the format of the questions we're asking and what do we want to shift. And so this year, what has changed with our literacy PDSAs is we're using multiple measures, multiple data measures, really looking at our LPAC data, SBAC data, iReady, DIBBLES, sometimes curriculum-based data to make those decisions. We've become more strategic. We're looking at all students, and we're looking at focus students. We know with our ELs as a student group, there's room for improvement. We're getting very specific at level 2 and level 3 ELs and RFEPs. What is their literacy need? What needs to happen in tier 2? And therefore, what's the bridge to tier 1? We can't keep tier 1 separate. And so that's our transition this year, is holding up those 3 components.
So the RTI team and I,
Yeah.
I think I have to lift it up. So, so the RTI team and myself, the 2 paraprofessionals, and I worked on our PDSA, and we looked at, like Jenny said, the specific data. So this is one on the right side of the screen is data from one RFEP student. He was RFEP'd in 4th grade. But yet he still scored well below with his accuracy on DIBBLES. And so then we looked at his iReady, and with iReady, he was hitting the mark with his phonics and his high-frequency words. And so the next skill is vocabulary. The lowest literacy skill then to focus on is vocabulary. And then for his LPAC, it showed his LPAC data, and his reading and writing was also developing. And so we really wanted to help him, stay ahead of the game. And so we decided to focus on vocabulary, and also in the science of reading, they say that reading comprehension is 60% vocabulary. So we thought it was the biggest bang for our buck. And so we were explicitly teaching cognates, which are words that sound the same. I have to do the motion. Sound the same in 2 languages, and they mean the same thing, like chocolate and chocolate, that kind of word, because then they acquire those vocabulary words easier. And then also focusing on prefixes, suffixes, and root words. And we're also using Frere models almost daily to introduce new vocabulary words. And then our expectation is that they are using them in their speaking and their writing. And I've noticed that just their informal use of the vocabulary words is so much more fluent already. And then we're hoping that the data will show in iReady that they're going to go up on their reading comprehension. 3 out of the 4 will go up on their reading comprehension and vocabulary subtests. And so now we have the opportunity that we can see that data.
Thank you, Julie.
Okay, next. This is our last piece for our Tier 2. We're going to address in literacy. We're going to move on to Tier 1 writing and conclude there. This is something I want to highlight from our kinder team. Edith Martinez, Amalia Neuendorp, and Veronica Ortega. They looked at their data. They came to me and Sarah in August. We got to try something else. Something's not working. The last couple years, we're watching a high percentage of our students get stuck in Volume 1 of Camino, our kindergarten reading curriculum that we use in Walk to Learn. So we had to see approximately 60% in a repetitive pattern through January. And they were like, this isn't okay. What can we do differently? And so with that commitment to continuous improvement, they came with the idea, let's keep the kids. Let's not start Walk to Learn right out the gate in September. These are tiny little people, right? They need that connection. As well, the emphasis shifted to Tier 1 instruction. Our TI team collaborated with Kinder. One of each of the 3 team members went into the 3 classrooms. So together, they methodically planned using the curriculum. Canciones y Cuentos, Heggerty, Ladrillos was a supplemental curriculum added that gave those additional lessons for those students who weren't understanding a certain letter name or sound. And the results, as you can see, is now we're in November, early November, we started our first cycle in Walk to Learn with only about 20% of the kids in Volume 1. All other students are in Volume 2 or beyond. So that change idea has given us excellent results. Yeah. Okay. And you're going to have the opportunity now. We're going to transition. So given our commitment to continuous improvement, we have committed to 3 writing PDSA cycles this school year. We just completed our first one today, and I wish I had videoed it so you could have heard the success throughout from K through 5, as well as enrichment and ELD and RTI. But that question becomes, how does that Tier 1 writing instruction take place? So you're going to first hear from our Team 3, followed by Team 2, and then we'll conclude with Team 4. All right.
We're Team 3, there's 3 of us right now. So for our writing PDSA cycle, we chose to focus on informative writing. Big things to highlight is we're using our Step Up to writing curriculum from the district, and what we do is a lot of vertical alignment. We're starting in 3rd grade with things and structures and strategies like the T-chart you can see in the picture that 4th grade and then 5th grade use, and so we're kind of introducing it. You can also see in the photo, we really focused on a lot of academic discourse of showing them what an exemplar paragraph looks like, and then they had to break it apart and really communicate verbally a lot more within writing. Writing seems often to be like a quiet activity when we want it to be a lot more engaging. So using academic discourse like a sort and justify, they had to figure out how the paragraph was organized when we were really focusing on organization. And the other thing that I think is really cool about our school and our grade level is we were able to introduce this in both Spanish and in English. And so that really supports all learners. They were able to learn it in whichever native language they have and then apply it to their other language too. I think we're going this way. Yep. So here's our first PDSA cycle. Looks similar to just kind of what Julie did as well. Things to highlight is we were really using that Step Up to writing, modeling with the whole class, and then going through. And one thing we noticed within our PDSA cycle, we focused on our language learners who have a LPAC 2 score, and really seeing how we could help them specifically with their English writing. But because we introduced it in Spanish too, they were able to kind of have that introduction and hear it both ways. And then we tried to pull back on the scaffolding and provide them that more like independent time to be able to try it on their own, which was really cool to see. It was difficult for them, but I think with our academic vocabulary we're putting in, writing converse writing, you'll hear about in a little bit, and going through, we noticed that we need to continue to give them these structures and supports with that piece of independence so that their voices really started to come through their writing, which was pretty cool to see. And then we can foresee that they will be successful in being able to do this by themselves too. Anything else to add?
Nope.
Okay, great.
Hi. Okay, so in October, can you guys hear me? Yes. Okay. In October, our second grade team does a writing unit around the study of bats. Naturalists from TINS, which is the Tahoe Institute of Natural Sciences, come and give a talk about bats with real taxidermied bats and bat skeletons. The students also learn about bats in class through books, videos, and lots of academic conversations. We recreate the Austin Butterflies lesson, which is linked in this slide. Please look at it. It's a really cool lesson, where drawings from an actual first grade student are used to teach about giving and receiving peer-to-peer feedback and creating and incorporating the feedback into multiple drafts. In this lesson, these pictures of Austin attempts to draw the photo, which is shown at the top left, are shared one at a time, and through academic conversation, the students give Austin feedback on what he did well and what he could improve. So you can see his progression up there. And the students get excited because Austin listens to him as his drawings get better. We use write, converse, write strategies where students write their ideas and then share their ideas and receive feedback and additional information to add to their revisions.
So this year we wanted better paragraphs, and we wanted to explicitly teach the end of the year paragraph expectations. So we decided to create Austin's paragraph to go along with the drawing. So this is the same idea as the drawing lesson, but the students would learn a student-friendly rubric, then have conversations to come up with what to say to Austin, to give Austin his theoretical feedback. In the lesson, they see his paragraph build based on their feedback, and they gain understanding of how to write a topic sentence. Be sure they have related ideas and relevant details.
Can I just ask a question?
Yeah.
I'm super confused about who Austin is.
So Austin's paragraph, Austin's Butterfly is a lesson, and it's based on a real student named Austin. And if you watch that Austin's paragraph video, it's basically like, oh, this kid's trying to draw this butterfly. I'll go back.
Okay, I was thinking.
This was actually, Sage wanted to explain this more, and I said, no, we don't have time. No, so a real kid named Austin is trying to draw that butterfly. And so we show,
It's real.
it's a photograph. It's a real child.
About butterfly science.
Yeah.
He was shown the scientific photograph of a butterfly. That very first picture is a photograph.
Right.
And he was told, draw a scientifically
Here.
accurate picture, draw this butterfly. And that first guy up there was his first attempt. And so his classmates gave him feedback and said, well, you did good in that it's got the wings and it has a body, but if you look at the photograph, the wings are more pointed. So maybe try making the wings more pointy. So then you can see his next attempt. And they said, that's great, they're pointy, but maybe they're a little too pointy, and so on and so forth. So you can see the colored butterfly at the bottom is his last version from the same kid. Okay. Just getting feedback from his friends.
Is Austin like gaslighting? What's going on here?
No, it's, so it's funny because they're second graders, and as we're showing them the slides, we say, this is what Austin drew first. And they're like, oh, it's pretty good. And we say, what feedback would you give Austin? So they talk with each other about the feedback they would give. They report back out. And then when we show the next picture, they're like, they listen to us. Of course, it's already done, but the kids think they're talking to Austin. So yeah, it's a really cool lesson and a really cool short video that you can, there is a link there that's not showing up.
Not criticize children's art.
No, we are supposed to give constructive feedback. So all of this is about creating and receiving constructive feedback. So that's so much a part of, like, kids don't want to redraw something. They don't want to rewrite something. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. So when you see, so this is just a short video of them. Oops, I don't know. I wasn't going to play it, but it just auto-played. So short video of them, they're speaking Spanish. You can kind of watch it later and see. It's really hard to hear. But this is just a stronger, clearer Jeff Swear's strategy, where they're in a line and then they rotate 3 times and talk to different partners and build on each other's ideas. Same. This is second clip, same thing, just different kids and what they're saying. You can watch that at your leisure. But these are our BAT drawings. So these are the ones they actually got feedback from each other, from the class. They did multiple, some kids did 6, 7 drawings of bats and made them better each time. And so you can see this student, the same picture of a bat. And so instead of erasing, I'm going to start over. I'm going to make this better with all this feedback that we got, right? So we wanted that to go into the writing, right? Let me just, so close to done. So we wanted that to get into the writing. So this is the final draft, right, of Liam's writing and his bats and his final bat. And you'll see these, I think you're coming on Friday. These are all in the second grade hallway. You can read them all and explore the bats and their writing and what they did. The great thing about this is most of our kids were able to come up with a topic sentence. They also did not resist writing multiple drafts, right? Because now they know, my drawing got so much better, my writing is going to get so much better. And so their final bats and their final paragraphs are on the wall. But they had multiple iterations. And then we just finished our PDSA cycle as well, which this was a mini cycle within our PDSA. And our final cycle today was paragraphs that were about other animals that they researched themselves. And so that was a more independent, can they do this on their own? And we just saw incredible growth. We focused on 8 students who were scoring a 1, lowest in writing, and all 8 of them got at least a 2, a lot of 2.5s, and 1 solid 3. So we were very excited.
Holding down the floor.
So while the 4th grade team is coming up, the whole team, I just want to say, and even for other school sites watching, yes, you're given a time frame, but never let it keep you from sharing the hard work that you do. If we sit here an extra 5-10 minutes, we're not going to melt. We're not going to die. Like, I would rather listen to the once a year that KBE is in this room, hear you brag and share successes, than to, like, I don't want to show the video or I don't want to explain this. Like, we need to hear what you're doing. That is why you're here. So an extra 10 minutes will not kill us. Can't speak for everyone, but I will sit here.
Well, let me stretch my hamstrings because, yeah, here we go. No, I feel somewhat really grateful for my staff, for all of us, but I feel like in 4th and 5th grade, we sort of get to serve leftovers after someone's cooked a really good meal and then take a lot of the credit for it. But so kind of piggybacking right after 3rd grade, 3rd, 4th, and 5th, the work they're doing in K2, TK2 leads us to really be able to use and dive into the Step Up to Writing curriculum more in depth, and it just has such great staying power for vertical alignment. So you can really see the connection to in 4th grade, they come to us knowing the structure of a T-chart and how to use it, and we go into more depth. And then the 4th grade standard is to take it instead of just a paragraph, but how to use it to then develop the multi-paragraph or essay writing. So that's kind of the big transition for 4th grade. And what we were highlighting was just kind of the amount of steps and work it takes. Again, kind of off the Austin's butterfly, but way less fluffy for us now. Just kidding. But you can kind of see the in-depth. So after lots of research, there's a lot of note-taking while we're reading. All of the steps happen then, the vocab building. And then it's put into the T-chart, which are the notes, the way they can organize it to then create the multi-paragraph writing piece. And what we were focusing on is using the academic strategy or academic discourse strategy of write, converse, write, and how we can use that specifically after the note-taking step, before the writing, and then after the first draft of writing as a check for understanding and specifically complete sentences going into their next draft. So right here is just the note capturing while we're reading, and then the first edition of a T-chart. And then at that stage, they would have used a series of scaffolded language frames in a write, converse, write to really speak their evidence and what they needed to have in their writing before the writing step. That's done in a partner with multiple partners, really relying on the idea of if you can say it correctly, you can write it correctly. Like Gianna said about the third grade team in fourth grade, they're doing this at the same time. They have a Spanish writing unit using it and an English writing using it. So same idea of using their L1 to support the writing in their L2, which however that falls for them. And then these are bad pictures you can kind of see on the wall, but what I wanted to highlight, this is a student, same LPAC 2, this is in Spanish. He's right on the cusp of like making these incredible leaps and just did an awesome job. You can see kind of his willingness to change some things. The underlined orange are sentences that were found by a partner in a secondary write, converse, write that were not complete. That was a big focus. Kind of got ahead of myself here, but a big focus. Third grade works on it a lot. I work on it again. Fifth grade works on it again. They do a great job with the T-chart and can get hung up in how to change those thoughts into complete sentences. It's especially for our language learners in both languages. So a huge celebration here is how many of those sentences were found without me ever having to do an edit circle with this student. And then they would go back to another write, converse, write. Again, with the sentence frames, can you use the sentence frames to help fix what you already found? And then I just kind of want to highlight, this is just one student, but success was similar. Of course, not all of them were like this, but very great success in that by the time it got to the typing and editing station with me for other conventions, there were no more incomplete sentences, which is a really big celebration. And just their agency in owning that was great. Some of the drawbacks are you see repetitive sentence structure and use, but often meeting the kids where they are kind of gets them to that next step. So obviously trying to move towards less scaffolding as you go on. And so thanks to everyone, before me, but that's great. And then I know the fifth grade team is also using Stepped Up to Writing, and you can just, it's so fun for me to even see like the jump again and the tweaks that are made to that more detailed writing. So thanks.
All right, that concludes our presentation. We want to thank you for giving us the time to spotlight our program. I really want to honor and thank our staff who's here tonight, those that presented, those are here or are not here. It's a collective effort, and there's some really remarkable work happening with literacy. So thank you. If you have any questions, I'm here to answer. We're all here.
Thank you. That was awesome. Board questions?
Sorry, I'm having really bad back problems. These chairs are so comfortable. No, they are. They actually really are compared to the ones we had before. I really like the whole Austin's butterfly thing because, and I also like the fact that you guys looked at anecdotal evidence and realized that like a certain group of kids were not making progress. They were getting stuck. So that was like, I love to see that in education because it is so important. Instead of just doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome, you obviously have to switch, right, to get these kiddos on track. And also that reflects back into the child's self-esteem because they want to see themselves making progress. They don't want to be stuck. and it makes them feel really good when they're making progress. So it goes both ways.
Yeah.
And then the application of the Austin's butterfly thing is brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
They are brilliant.
I mean, like, my mind is completely blown because our job in education is to teach young people how to push through adversity and how to be uncomfortable. When you're working through that learning process, you're going to be uncomfortable.
Yes.
And what that does is it sort of takes it into the creative. And it makes it more wondrous and fun for children to learn versus feeling like it's just a task that they're trying to memorize. So I really want to see more of that because in my opinion, that's really where education should be moving. It should not just be rote reproduction, kill and drill, that kind of thing.
Yes.
Kids need to be creative, they need to be engaged, they need to feel good, and they want to see themselves making progress, and they also need to learn how to tolerate that threshold of anxiety, resistance, boredom,
Agreed.
right? Like
Yes, it's well said.
it's like you have to learn how to push through that.
Yes.
And we're finding, in our new generation of kids who are graduating and going to college and never really learn that are not good employees. And so it's a huge devastation phenomenologically in society.
Yes.
Is because kids just don't know how to work, right? The millennials or whatever, 21, 20 to 30, employers are like unable to hire them or fire them because they can't get through the tough stuff. If I put anybody in that category, you guys are all obviously excluded from that. I don't even, you all look so young to me, I don't even really know how old you are.
You're safe.
But anyway, so I really I thought it was just so exciting, and I think we need to replicate that in other models, for sure.
So a couple of things, and back to that quote, right? Leadership is plumbing and poetry, the poetry for the child and the poetry for the adults. There's an expertise at our school site among our teaching staff, and when they have that freedom of taking what's clear on what has to happen, but having autonomy in the how of it, that's where the magic results. And so the Team 2, Team 3, Team 4, any of our teams you could have heard from tonight, they all had the same ask of what we're doing, and yet it came out so differently, and I love that combination. And our counselors, Jess is here, Kelly's not here this evening, but as well, their mantra for our students, never give up, we can do hard things, right? Like throughout our campus, I was like, second one, throughout our campus, you'll hear it said, we can do hard things. And adults, children, those are very important pieces. Last year with site funds, I bought licenses for all of our staff for Step Up to Writing to get momentum around it, to get us to be ready to where we are this year, to move forward. So thank you for honoring that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wonderful work. Very exciting.
So first of all, preach it, sister.
I
mean, that was so good. That was.
Wait until 7 o'clock hits. It's after my bedtime.
No, but well said, really well said. And it's just a couple hours ago, maybe not even that long ago, we were having a conversation about how in this district, we hire well. Well, we didn't say that, but I know that we hire well. But what we did say is that you all have autonomy and trust. If you show that you have the skill and the passion and compassion and whatever else your leadership is looking for at each site, we were just saying that, like, we're not to dictate how you do your job, and yet look at these outcomes. Like, is there work to be done? Yeah, at every site, for all of us, right? But I love seeing the camaraderie and the teamwork and sharing your feedback or your outcomes, and but it's true. It's like you're given the district, the leadership gives us teaching staff the tools, and then trust that you know what you're doing as professionals. And I mean, this stuff comes out, and it's really powerful. And you know, I love KB. It's my neighborhood school. It's my daughter's alma mater. I love, like, a lot of you I see at the beach and, you know, so, but yeah, it's just, I'm super happy to be here tonight and see all the successes and how you get there, right? Because to us, it's like, oh, look at those outcomes or those increases or what have you. But it's nice to hear the strategies that you're using and the tools that you're using. Yeah,
Thank you,
thank
Chris.
you. And thank you for being here this evening.
And that's something where I talk a lot about the noun and the verb of our work. And the noun is provided, right, from the state to the county, to the district, to the site, right? That part we know and it's defined, but it's the verb of our work where that's where we want this expertise, the poetry to take off. So it's the balance between the two. Yeah.
I wish that the home audience could see how well integrated this presentation was with the visuals in the room, because I think out of all the showcases we've had, this really highlights the success even more so than just the presentation on its own. So I think if anyone has an opportunity to come into the boardroom and be able to visually look at it, it really complements the work and shows, you know, that success chronologically and how significant it is. I think that was so impactful. Not that the presentation wasn't also impactful, but I think you can just really recognize that, you know, going from sort of that early learning phase to how the comprehension's changing, how you're addressing the students' needs, all the way to, you know, these very complicated sentence structures and paragraphs, and it's just so impressive. And the fact that you're constantly checking in and doing that assessment really visually presented itself tonight. So excellent job. I'm very impressed. So.
Thank you. I appreciate that feedback. That was my vision. I wanted the room to speak to our work.
I was going to say, that was
Yeah.
well planned on the way it worked. I think that was,
We had Truckee L win a couple months ago.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
but just having and again, the pictures do say 1,000 words, but it is kind of fun having it so we can see, because normally we just have them out. So
Yeah.
well use of art and in our room. But yeah, first and foremost, thank you so much for all of it. Look at all that. Like, that's a lot of stuff.
That's a lot of work, Lupita, too.
That's a lot of work, Lupita.
Yeah, thanks,
That
Lupita.
is-
Jenny.
Yeah.
But no, that's awesome, because we love having it here. And then I think what Chris said that was important is that we need you to talk. We make you come all the way out here, but we need you to showcase it. So I'm glad you sent it. Big thanks to have everybody that's here. Thank goodness there's one small male boy right there. Where's all the men teachers over there? But no, really, he's like, can't believe you said that.
He's part of the butterflies.
Oh,
Yeah,
wait,
that's
are you Austin?
No. Miles is in second grade and Quinn is in first. This is Miss Morato's son and this is Miss Dunning's daughter. And they joined us this
Thank
evening.
you guys for coming to the meeting.
Yeah.
And being polite. No, thank you for doing this. We appreciate always having you here, and having your staff here is huge too. We never get to see you outside of your classrooms really, unless we're in the grocery store. So this is really good. There's only one grocery store on our side, but really thank you for this. But what you had said though is that we see the numbers. So to actually see it in the how and the why, it just makes it so much easier to grasp it for all of us. But I like going last because everybody said everything that all these great things. Really appreciate you guys. Yes, come on up.
I'm going to do what they just said. We can do hard things. Here I am. So Jenny actually had asked, is this on? Had asked if I would present. And I was like, no, that's too much. I get too nervous. But then I told her I would only present if I get to say this, or will you say it on my behalf? And she said, no, I'm not going to say that to everyone. So here it goes. I told her we can only be creative with such an amazing administrator. Like, this is literally, I'm sorry, got emotional. This is why I don't speak publicly. But I told her, the creativity comes from having great admin, Sarah, Jenny, processes that need to be followed, things that are expected, high expectations for our students, for our staff, and then we can be creative. And within the creativity, we have these amazing, amazing data points. So thank you. So.
But yeah, well, thank you for that.
Thank you, Edith. Yeah. All right.
Thank
Good
you.
evening. Thank you all.
We'll see you Friday. Thank you.
Oh, that's right. Oh. Okay, thank you for the context. We will keep that in mind. Oh, that's perfect.
Wait, what's tomorrow? Okay, we'll give them 2 seconds. That was lovely. We'll let them slowly wander out, and then we're going to go to you, but we'll wait a second.
I have to try to.
We'll wait.
That's Joaquin. Hi, Joaquin. Oh, Joaquin. Because I said they're still talking. They're still talking. He sleeps on the dais. Yeah. Careful, a little tiny bit. He gets
Mini Pika.
I know. Not 100% used to little people. Oh, he's getting used to it. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Good night.
Well, we'll regroup and move on to 9.0 Superintendent's Report from Superintendent Kramer.
Thank you, President Driller. Very tough act to follow. So I want to start with 2 special recognitions tonight. As we know that leadership, as we saw and heard from Edith, makes a big difference. Board leadership makes an incredible difference, and having longevity on the board makes big things happen in a school district. So it's my pleasure tonight, on behalf of Placer County of Education Superintendent Gail Mojica Grabiarella, and sorry, I'm not doing her, I was close. Gail, Superintendent Gail. I'd like to present to Kirsten Levac her 15 years service recognition.
Wow. That is crazy. Congrats.
So cool. Thank you. Wow. Thank you. Thank you. Has it only been 15?
It feels like more.
Oh, nice work.
So if that wasn't amazing enough, we actually have 2 board members that are being recognized for 15 years. Our president, Dee Dee Driller, is also being recognized for 15 years.
Thank you. Wow, that's crazy.
Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you, I'm kind of excited. Wow, Gail?
Yes, isn't that beautiful?
Wow, but you're longer. Like you have more, you have 17 total.
Yep.
I was going to say, I think it was a little more than 15.
Yes, so I'm sure your year 20 is coming soon, so I think she's playing catch up. We had to do the same with our years of service. COVID kind of messed us all up, so.
Frame that right up there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Congratulations. Thank you both for your years of dedication.
Holy moly.
So, yeah, well, we're going to keep rolling with recognitions. So, I'm really excited to share about our reclassification celebration. So these students have been reclassified as English proficient, and we heard Kings Beach staff talking about how purposeful they are. We're working with our English learners so that they become fluent and fluent in English. So this year we had 38 students on Lakeside, and pictured here is North Tahoe schools, some of their students with principal and dean, and then 58 students on Truckee side. And we had 2 different ceremonies, one at Kings Beach for Lakeside and one at Truckee High School. So we had great attendance. Our jazz bands performed at the beginning. There was a beautiful food buffet for families so that they could stick around and celebrate. So congratulations to those families and students. They've worked very hard for that.
What grades were these in? These are middle
So
school?
it's any grade level. As soon as you reclassify, you'll be recognized. They do it by school. So Kings Beach had students, Tahoe Lake, all of the schools on both sides, except for Donner Lake. They didn't have anyone this year. So we know that our strategic plan, kind of the foundation for it, is to engage and empower students, educators, and staff to achieve their potential. And an important tool that is woven throughout what we do is our technology. And we've had an individual come and speak to us at public comment a couple times, one of our parents and community members, wondering about screen time and is it impacting achievement and potential for our students. And so Trustee Pat Mooney and I had the pleasure of going on 2 site visits with the parent, the community member, and all we were doing was just getting a snapshot in time of what does tech use look like at our middle school, Alder Creek, and at Truckee High on a given day, understanding like this is just one sample. And it was so interesting because at Truckee High School, we visited, I believe, 14 classrooms, and 10 of them had no Chromebook use. So that, I think sometimes we think we're such a tech-saturated world, but we are still using paper journals, all the English courses there. The kids start with the journaling. And then, for example, in French class, they were using their Chromebooks, but it was a really fun Jeopardy vocabulary review, and as soon as it was done, it was closed. And then at Alder Creek as well, there was only 2 classrooms that were purposefully using the Chromebooks. And so I just want to share with everyone that as we talked about, our teachers are professionals and experts, and they're really thoughtful about when and how they use the technology to enhance the learning environment for students. So I just really appreciate Mr. Hunt going with us to get that snapshot, and Trustee Mooney for going on the tour with me. It was really fun and just always so great to be in the classrooms and see the learning happening. And then the other kind of tech piece along with that is the new, rapidly ever-evolving artificial intelligence. We had our first committee work group last night. And as our Chief Tech Officer Ed Hilton and Michael Arrington, our TOSA, reminded us that we use the term artificial intelligence, but it really isn't artificial intelligence. It's a large language model that's very predictive, could be machine learning, and so on. But what the work group is doing is it's getting input from staff and parents and community members about what a board policy should look like for AI. And so in our first session, we really focused on our foundational documents, so our vision and belief statements and our strategic plan, our focus areas. And we compared those to what the state has recommended 9 principles to include in our board policy, because we really want to make sure that our TTUSD AI board policy reflects the values of our community and make sure that it aligns with these important documents that we've worked so hard on and gathered a lot of input on. So it was a great meeting. We really appreciate all the participants, and Clerk Hennessy and Trustee Mooney are both on it, and I know Clerk Hennessy at the end of the meeting will share a little bit about her experience. But we appreciate all the participants for their time and energy. So hopefully, board, by the end of the school year, we will bring our first read draft for your input. And I also want to make sure that the community knows that the California dashboard has been updated with the 2025 assessment results and other local data. And our Assistant Superintendent of Ed Services, Mrs. Shawn Roderick, will present in December. But I wanted our community to know that you can go check on individual schools or look at our overall TTUSD performance ratings. And we had successes like science. This is the first year we got a performance rating, and we're really pleased to see that that was in the green. And what the dashboard does is look at the performance from the current year and compare it to past performance. And what the state is looking for is always that we're growing and progressing and helping more and more students meet standard. So our success story was our grad rate, our college and career, and our math all moved up in performance ratings. Our English language arts held steady in the green, and then we went down in English learner progress, suspension rate, and chronic absenteeism. So we're working on all of these things all the time, but it's very exciting to see that our grad rate in our academic areas all increased and made progress or held steady. So our teams are working very hard, and we're proud of what we're achieving here in TTUSD. So please check it out. And then another celebration. So this week and last week, our Truckee side and our Lakeside English Learner Advisory Committee meetings happened. So that is an ELAC meeting at Lakeside last night, I believe.
ELAC?
Yes, and that's why Mr. Fleesock wasn't at our meeting and Miss Kate Teller, because they were at this event. So over 100 parents plus, and what they were doing is, you can see Marisol, our new attendance community liaison, presenting there in the far right. So they learned a bit about attendance and strategies for getting to school, and then they also celebrated. So let me make sure I have the right number. Our students, if they are reclassified, so we just talked about those numbers, and then they meet or exceed standards on one of the state assessments, the CAS, for either math or ELA, they receive a special pin. So this year, total for our district, 247 pins were given away. And that's part of what they did both Lakeside and Truckee side. So our students are working hard and they're getting great results. And our teachers and our principals are just creating the environment where our students are flourishing. So huge shout out to our community engagement initiative teams for helping reimagine the ELACs and just getting such great participation. And that concludes my update, unless there's any questions.
Thank you for that. Any questions? Comments? I have one comment that I, again, wanted us to reiterate what was said when Kings Beach was out, but also what Superintendent Kramer had just mentioned, is that thank you for giving the teachers the permissions to teach. I think that's a really valid point, and I think that we as board members know that we are not the experts in the classrooms, and I think that by giving them the power and the permission to do what they have done or can do is a sign of a strong leader at the site as well as where we're coming from. So I think that that's been a really positive outcome of all this. And also, Ed, resolution, here we go. I knew it was coming. So I just want to say before, thank you for all that you're doing, because it's going to be a lot, uncharted, which is good for you. You can go for it. But thank you, because I know that we're going to, this is probably the first of many, so it'll probably be a good template. But I think that we are, because of the tour that happened at school with, and those sites, the visit was unannounced, and the classrooms were not prepared for any kind of visit, that what was being taught is what the teachers feel is the most important and best for our scores, our students, and our social and emotional wealth. I think what we have in place is great. And as much as we had gone with Chromebooks one-to-one, it is a valid teaching tool, but it's also, I think, extremely respected in terms of where we're going. So whatever you're doing is good. Thank you. 10.0, Superintendent Kramer, resolution.
For this item, we'll turn to our Executive Director of Student Services, Dr. Anna Marie Cohen.
Thank you, Superintendent Kramer, and good evening, President Driller, Board of Trustees, community. This resolution is adopted to certify approval of the governing board to submit the Continued and Expansion Funding Application, CEFA, to the California Department of Education. In 2023-2024, TTUSD received initial funds to expand the General Child Care and Development Program to full-day, full-year services in the STEP program. The funds provide direct services for eligible children. Priority is given to infants and toddlers in underserved areas. The STEP program serves infants and toddlers that have the greatest need for quality care. This application is for the 26-27 school year to help offset the full cost of the STEP program funded through a partnership with Early Head Start. This resolution authorizes Superintendent Chief Learning Officer to sign the CEFA and all related fiscal year 26-27 contract documents. It is staff's recommendation the board approve resolution number 122526.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the board? With that, thank you for giving us that. We do love that program. So at this point, 10.1, would anyone care to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 12, 2025-2026.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye, thank you very much. 10.2, Superintendent Kramer.
Dr. Cohen?
Thank you. TTUSD puts forth this resolution formally declaring December 2nd, 2025 as the district's 4th annual observance of National Special Education Day and the period from December 1st through 5th, 2025 as Special Educator Appreciation Week. This resolution acknowledges that the success of all students, including those with special needs, requires high-quality, specialized instruction from a dedicated and highly qualified team of educators and is profoundly supported by a unified system that includes schools, families, and community partners. TTUSD is proud to employ 56 credentialed special education staff members and 56 instructional assistants, all deeply committed to the students they serve, and recognizes December 2nd, 1975 as the historic signing date of the nation's first special education legislation. As this is an annual adoption, is staff's recommendation, the Board of Trustees approve Resolution Number 13, 2025-2026, recognition of National Special Education Day and Special Educator Appreciation Week.
Thank you. 1975. Board have any questions or comments? And would someone care to make a motion to approve 10.2?
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution Number 13, 2025-26, recognizing National Special Education Day and Special Educator Appreciation Week.
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Moving to 11.0, again, donation. Thank you.
Dr. Cohen?
Thank you. This generous donation in the amount of $5,464 from the Speedy Foundation will fund 2 advisor stipends, one at North Tahoe High School and one at Alder Creek Middle School. Hope Squad is a middle high school peer-to-peer suicide prevention program. Students meet regularly with trained advisors to talk and learn about mental health. The program reduces the risk of youth suicide through education, training, and peer intervention. It is staff's recommendation the Board of Trustees accept this donation in the amount of $5,464.
Thank you. Comments or questions about this donation from the board? Seeing none, would someone care to make a motion for 11.1?
I'll make a motion to accept the donation from the Speedy Foundation to fund stipends for our Hope Squad advisors.
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Thank you very much for that, Speedy Foundation. Moving to 12.0, grant, Superintendent Kramer.
And now we'll turn to our Assistant Superintendent of Educational Services, Mrs. Shawn Roderick.
Thank you, Superintendent Kramer. Good evening, President Driller, Board of Trustees, and community. Tonight it is my pleasure to present for your consideration a generous grant from the National Christian Foundation on behalf of the Milliken Giving Fund. This grant is being provided to Truckee High School in recognition of the Milliken family's fond connection to the school's athletic programs. Their grandson, a former wrestler and swimmer at Truckee High, requested this contribution. The donation totals $3,500 and is allocated as follows: $2,000 for the Truckee High School swim team, $1,500 for the Truckee High School wrestling team. It is the staff's recommendation the Board of Trustees accepts this generous grant.
Thank you. Any comments or questions from the board? Thank goodness for grandparents. And appreciate that, obviously, but then nice work from the grandson, our Truckee student. With that, would anyone care to make a motion for 12.1?
I'll make a motion to accept the grant from the National Christian Foundation's Milliken Giving Fund for Truckee High School swim and wrestling teams.
Thank you. A second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. And moving to 13.0, Superintendent Kramer. Oh, forgot aye. It's on, now it's on. 13.0, Superintendent Kramer.
Yes, Mrs. Roderick.
Thank you. Superintendent Kramer, President Driller, and members of the Board of Trustees and community, tonight we are pleased to present the Spring 2025 cohort data. This review will focus on the academic progress of specific student groups or cohorts over the past 3 years, examining their journey in both English language arts and mathematics. Our objective is to provide a clear and transparent analysis of our students' performance. We'll be tracking the academic data for three distinct cohorts, our 6th graders, 9th graders, and 12th graders. This cohort model allows us to see how the same group of students has progressed during their time in our district, providing valuable insights into our programs. This evening, we begin with English Language Arts for our current 6th grade cohort. This chart shows the performance as 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders. We are pleased to report a steady positive trend. This group has demonstrated consistent growth each year, moving from 53 to 61% of students meeting or exceeding standards. This upward momentum celebrates the solid instructional foundation being built in our elementary schools. This slide illustrates the middle school journey for our current 9th grade cohort, showing the performance in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. This group showed strong performance in 6th grade and continued to grow in 7th grade, peaking at 61% proficiency. We observe a performance decline in their 8th grade year to 59%. Here we see the long-term data for our current 12th grade cohort, tracking them from middle school through their 11th grade assessment. This chart tells us a powerful story of long-term success. Despite a dip in performance from 7th at 59% to 8th at 55%, this cohort finished with remarkable growth, jumping to 68% proficiency in 11th grade. This significant gain from their middle school baseline is a celebration of the sustained effectiveness of our secondary English Language Arts program. To summarize, our findings in English Language Arts, we celebrate the strong, consistent growth in our elementary cohort and significant long-term gains made by our high school cohort. Our primary growth opportunity is to study the data and the performance dip observed in the 8th grade year and enhance our support systems to ensure all students transition successfully to high school. Moving to mathematics, we first examine our current 6th graders' performance in elementary school. This cohort began with strong performance in 3rd grade, 58%, but experienced variability with a dip in 4th grade at 52%, followed by a recovery to 56 in 5th. While the proficiency level is solid, I would like to share that in 23-24, we field tested new curricula, and in the following year started with our new curriculum. This pattern highlights growth opportunities to create and consist year-over-year momentum. We are confident our new aligned mathematics curriculum will support this goal. This slide shows the math performance of our current 9th grade cohort during their middle school years. After performance held steady at 46% through 6th and 7th grade, we are encouraged to see a significant 8 percentage point jump in their 8th grade scores to 53%. The recent gain and celebration and a positive indicator for our new middle school curriculum in the alignment 6 through 8. The data for our current 12th grade math cohort highlights a significant and ongoing area of continued focused growth. While the group showed progress from 7th 42% to 8th grade 50%, their performance declined on the 11th grade assessment to 39%. The challenge has been ongoing for 11th grade cohort. With our new curriculum, we have established alignment between middle and high school with ongoing support to keep consistency between the 8th grade CASP through our 11th grade CASP assessment. In summary, our mathematics data shows areas of both celebration and focus challenge. We celebrate the recent significant gains made by our current 9th grade cohort. Our primary growth opportunities are twofold. First, to create consistent upward momentum for our elementary students, and second, to address the performance challenges in our high school math courses. Our new aligned curriculum is the cornerstone of the strategic work. This cohort analysis provides valuable insight into our programs, allowing us to celebrate what is working and, more importantly, to apply focused effort where it is needed most. We are committed to using this data to drive continuous improvement for all students, and I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much for doing that. And I know that was a question for us, just for clarification, and I think it it really helped us. Comments or questions from the board?
I mean, I just had an observation that there's definitely COVID reflected in this, and I don't think you mentioned that, but like the dates for like the 2021 just felt to me like we're still recovering from that to some degree, that a lot of students, just it didn't resonate with them doing learning from home or through a screen or things like that. And so it's just going to take some time, I think, for them to kind of fully recover. And so I think, even though maybe the numbers here are lower at, 39%, I don't necessarily see that as a full setback. I mean, it's somewhat circumstantial too, just with COVID happening and recovering from that. Yeah. Just an observation.
I agree. I think that that's a phenomenological sort of byproduct of the fact that yeah. Well, I mean, how old, let's see, the cohort of kids that you were showing us were probably first grade, second grade, kindergarten.
That are now third graders.
Yeah, right?
Correct. Our
Yes.
TKers, actually, our third graders were TK, yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
preschool.
So that's really fun, foundational learning years, all the basics. And I think there will be probably a big bump coming ahead, supposedly, as they start to gain traction. But yeah, these kiddos are still catching up, big time.
And our teachers are doing a fabulous job recognizing that learning loss and mitigating it in the classroom with reimagining and accelerating and helping students get to where their needs are based on what we know was a post-pandemic situation. We try not to focus on that past and look at the future and really just align our curriculum to what they're seeing their students and their needs.
Taking the time to put this together as a follow-up from the last meeting. I appreciate that. It's really nice to see the longitudinal data sets in order to be able to sort of get a sense of how they're progressing over time. Thank you so much.
Of course, happy to do it.
My only question is, how long are we into our new math curriculum? Is it the second year this year?
We're going on our full second year, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, no, thank you for putting this together. Appreciate it.
I will echo that as well. Just, it makes a lot of sense for us, and I think the teachers obviously are getting a little bit more, like, when they see, I'm sure they see it as well, but hands-on as to like where we really are and what's happening. So appreciate that. With that, we'll move to consent. 14.0, are there any Superintendent Kramer items that need to be pulled?
Not from staff.
And board, anybody to pull? Okay, with that, would someone care to make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
I'll move to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. 16.0, business services, fiscal services. Superintendent Kramer.
Yes, and for this item, we'll turn to our Assistant Superintendent Chief Business Officer, Mr. Todd Rivera.
Thank you, Superintendent Kramer, President Driller, members of the board. So for nearly 40 years, our community has supported a voter-approved parcel tax, which provides enrichment programs and activities to include music, art, science, PE, career technical education, academic enhancement programs such as advanced placement classes. And that has been something that we've really appreciated of our community. The last time we went out to the community to ask for the renewal of a parcel tax was in November 2018, which was supported wholeheartedly by the community, and that's our current parcel tax, which began in 2019-20 fiscal year. That was set for a 9-year cycle, so it is set to expire in the 2027-2028 school year. So right now, our staff is looking at opportunities for another renewal of Measure AA, which could be another name if we decide to move forward with that. And as part of that process, the first thing we want want to do is kind of gauge the community support. So we have hired a consultant, an elections consultant, Team Civics, to start conducting that feasibility analysis, which will include community surveying, assessing the current political climate to try to give us a better idea of whether it would be an opportunity to go out next year possibly for a parcel tax election, or maybe we would have to shift it down the line a little bit. So other things that they'll be looking at is just providing recommendations for the final ballot measure development if we do decide to move forward with a parcel tax election, and also creating and delivering public information on the current parcel tax to our community members. So this contract, we're kind of in the process now of developing and finalizing that community survey. Surveying would begin, I believe, in December, and then in January we would have a good idea of whether the community would support a future parcel tax election. So the total cost of this contract with Team Civics is $73,400. That is an estimate, and that will be coming out of the general fund.
Thank you very much for that information and the update on Measure AA. Just clarifying that Team Civics is the same firm that we've used successfully in the past, and were they the ones that were also involved with the Measure G? Did they also work with us, or not with us, but with the town of, or the library, Friends of the Library?
Yes, they did. They actually have a pretty big presence in our community. I know they've supported the town and measures, as well as the North Tahoe Public Utility District as well, when they were looking at a potential measure.
Okay, so I just say that if this is the same one that we've worked with, I feel pretty confident that they are vested in our community, which is something that we've all asked about, local control and that kind of stuff. So does anyone, board members, have any other comments about what's happening?
No, I agree. I mean, I've worked with Charles Heath quite a bit at the town, so I think there's just a long-standing history of working in this community, and they really do work comprehensively, so they know all the different, things that are being considered with all the different agencies, and they weigh that, they provide really good advice. So yeah, I think this is definitely the right group.
Thank you for keeping them on your radar. Is there something else?
Yeah, just to add, so Charles Heath and Team Civics actually did an feasibility assessment when we were considering a potential general obligation bond measure in 2026 or 2024, I guess it was. Also, he was with a different company at the time, but they also did the feasibility study and community surveying for our Measures U and Measure E bond measures. And then later he was hired actually by the campaign committee on those.
Awesome. Well, I'm hoping for that. Good luck. I think that's money well spent. I'm going to make a motion to approve 16.1, which will be ratifying the agreement with Team Civics LLC for parcel tax consulting services. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Perfect. Moving to 17 points. Thank you very much for that, Todd. The 17.0 is board business. Danielle, how do you feel about starting us off on that end?
Oh, sure. I didn't really prepare anything other than I did do the Stanford Model UN field trip, and lots of interesting conversations by the students in the car, including things like I never thought I would be doing something like this ever, that I never thought I would have this opportunity. I never envisioned myself going to college. So I was really struck by that, and just how profound Craig Rowe's teaching and his influence on our students is just remarkable. So walked away from that just really proud of our school, and how a lot of our kind of clubs that we have in our high schools really do help students kind of find who they are and what they're interested in, and having teachers who guide that is just so phenomenal. So, and then it helped too on our drive back. We went through San Francisco, and it was a glorious 82 degrees, and there was no fog. Carl was not in the house, which was nice, and I think some of the students had probably never driven that way before. So it was really lots of photos and excitement about kind of driving back through. So it was an awesome experience, and I think my daughter's more sold on Stanford than ever. So yay for me.
Chris?
Well, first, what is just so obvious to me is this whole night, we've all said something about how amazing our teachers are. I mean, so I just, exclamation point on those remarks. But yes, so last night, I was part of the committee work group for the AI policy that we're going to be drafting here in the next few months. And there were, I want to say something like 12, 14 community staff members. I know we have a student that's going to be part of this committee, who is part of this committee, who wasn't able to attend, and we're seeking one more from the Lakeside. And we had parents, staff. It was just a great gathering, and we split up in work groups after Mr. Hilton and Mr. Arrington did a little bit of education on the history of AI, how the district uses it, and how we don't use it, and why. And so the three main things we looked at was how each work group had a theme. And just about, we had to look at our theme, and it was, how does it connect to our district? How can it advance our strategic plan? And what are some of the red flags that come up for us as we're having these discussions? And so that was very interactive, great, and I'm looking forward to the next three, I think, is what we're having. And then the last thing is, it's not very academically inclined, but I just want to share that I was speaking to someone at North Tahoe Public Utility District today, the NTPUD, and we were talking about the community Thanksgiving that has been hosted at the Event Center in Kings Beach for a long time, over a decade, and it started actually by a community member who goes to my church, who also was one of the founders of United for Action, which is all these like nonprofits. So they shared with me, which I hadn't heard from the district yet, how amazing our food services staff and the district in general is, because this community event, the last number I got was, I think, 2 years ago, we served 600 people for Thanksgiving. If you can let that soak in, 600 people that go to the community event for Thanksgiving. That's just mind-blowing, and it's about fellowship and celebrating. Families go and volunteer, and then they sit and they have their Thanksgiving dinner there with people they've never met. It's so amazing. But our kitchen staff, or our food services staff, has stepped in to help cook, prep meals. They're using, I think, our kitchens, our fridges, right? So again, another thing to be like really proud of being part of this district on. It's an amazing community event, and as leadership of it has evolved, the PUD is finding themselves in charge this year. They do need help. So if anybody still wants to go and serve the day of, the day before at the Kings Beach, at the North Tahoe Event Center, but our district stepped up, answered the call and stepped up, and I'm very, very proud of us. And thank you to Kat and her entire team. And anyone else that I don't know that is involved from the district, thank you so much. That's all I have.
Thank you, Kirsten. Chris, that's funny, because I just happened to come down the hallway and I saw Kat. I was like coming in, I'm like, gosh, every time I turn around, they're saying something good about you guys.
I know.
Like, what is up? That is awesome, and that's great. And again, sometimes it's so hard to find out what's going on here, but we're so small, but we have our fingers in the pulse. I will say, backing on what Mr. Rivera was saying in terms of us going out for a bond that we are asking the public for, I really appreciate the fact that it's not a one-way street. You know, that we are definitely trying to do things, not just educate our students, but provide housing for our employees, you know, and support food for all, and get, you know, so I think we're really, really lucky that where we are, but it does take work, and it does take two-way, you know, we are going back and forth, so I really compliment both sides. Wanted to say that yesterday I did not get to go to that meeting, but I went to the Placer County Supervisors meeting in Kings Beach and listened to them talk about, obviously, things that are happening in Tahoe. And at all three of sort of the topics that I were able to see were accepted by the Placer County to move forward. TOT was discussed, a transit occupancy tax. TART gave a wonderful presentation about what they found that worked with their programs, with their TART Connect, with their routes. Obviously, they are short on drivers as well. So, of course, I went up to speak and say that, I'm very happy to say that we are working with the Placer County Adult Education, trying to get more drivers out there. So we're all in the same phase. But Placer County Supervisors did approve some of their asks, and it was a 2-year stint. So there was, some new exciting things were West Shore route that's separate from the others so that it would actually occur as opposed to not happening. The ridership, they gave us numbers on ridership. They gave us maybe just considerations on TART Connect in terms of the goal was starting out to get the people from one stop to a TART route, and sort of just gave us some information on how that was being used. I, of course, you might have guessed, had said something about, is there any way we can get our TART buses certified to drive our school buses, and work into that, work your magic. And then the third thing that they discussed that I was there was the phase 2 of the TRPA amendment that would allow for some height changes, density changes, and capacity changes. And long and short of it, they approved the amendment. They did reiterate that there were some environmental concerns, and yet they were addressed. It's hard. Those are controversial meetings. But hopefully they will be putting some stipulations on some of the growth so that it isn't out of control. And they did say at the end, as they were wrapping it up, that, even though the height allotment has increased from 56 to 65, not everyone that builds is going to get the 65, because it does have some serious limitations to what you can do. So it wasn't a clean, like you can do it automatically. There was a lot of great public comment. And then the other thing is just my life. I've transitioned from mountain biking to cross country. I'm going to help Zan with middle school cross country whenever that starts, when we get snow. And then that's it. Ooh, 6:58, meeting adjourned.